Russia must ensure that 2 British soldiers sentenced to death in Ukraine are not executed, the European Court of Human Rights has ruled. Aiden Aslin and Sean Pinner, 2 Britons who were fighting in Ukraine's ranks before being captured in Mariupol in April, are now facing execution by firing squad after being sentenced as foreign mercenaries by a court in occupied Donbas. Judges sitting in Strasbourg issued an edict to Moscow on Thursday, saying Putin must ensure that the death penalty is not carried out and work to make sure the men are being kept in humane conditions and given medical care. Dmitry Peskov, Putin's spokesman, said Russia no longer complies with the court's rulings and the pair's fate will be decided by Ukraine rebel groups. Russia announced its intention to withdraw from the Council of Europe, a diplomatic body linked to the court, back in March, and was subsequently expelled. But the court can still issue rulings against Russia because there is a grace period in the Council Treaty, meaning the court retains jurisdiction until September 16. Last week, Russian MPs voted on 2 largely symbolic pieces of legislation that means any court decisions are not binding within Russia. The new ruling is intended to pile political pressure on Russia to protect the 2 men, but there is little the court can do if the Kremlin chooses to ignore it. It comes after UK Junior Foreign Minister Lord Ahmad of Wimbledon told Putin to release the 2 men and return them home without delay. The pair's so-called trial had no legitimacy, Lord Ahmadov told the House of Lords, where he was pressed over the plight of the 2 men. Aiden Aslin, 28, originally from Newark, Nottinghamshire, and Sean Pinner, 48, from Bedfordshire, moved to Ukraine in 2018 after marrying native women and signed up to serve in the Marines. Aslin, a former care worker who fought against ISIS in Syria, and Pinner, a British Army veteran, were serving on the front line in Donbas when Putin ordered his troops to invade on February 24. They surrendered 2 months later in the city of Mariupol after their units ran out of ammunition and were surrounded. As they were fighting in the regular Ukrainian army, both men are considered prisoners of war under international law, meaning they are exempt from prosecution for violence perpetrated in combat. However, leaders of the so-called Donetsk People's Republic, a sham state backed by Russia in Ukraine's east, argue they are foreign mercenaries and has prosecuted them as war criminals. Advertisement. Advertisement. Denis Pushilin, leader of the so-called Republic, controls the fate of the 2 men for the time being, and has already dismissed the idea of pardoning them. However, Russia is believed to be preparing a number of sham referendums for occupied regions of Ukraine to bring them under direct control of Moscow, which could leave their fate resting in the hands of the Kremlin. There is also little doubt that Pushilin is at the beck and call of Putin, and the Russia leader may want the two men kept alive given their potential value in any post-war negotiations, particularly over sanctions. Aslin, from Nottinghamshire, and Pinner, from Bedfordshire, were on 9 June convicted to death alongside Moroccan Sadoun Brahim, 21, after all three surrendered alongside Ukrainian forces to pro-Putin fighters in Mariupol. Another British detainee, Andrew Hill, 35, a father of four from Plymouth, has also been warned to expect the death penalty when his verdict is handed down. British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss called the sentences a sham judgment with absolutely no legitimacy, but the government has thus far refused to intervene directly to prevent the sentence. Truss has argued that a British governmental intervention could be seen to legitimize pro-Russian claims that Aslin and Pinner are mercenaries, despite them being paid members of the Ukrainian army with Ukrainian wives. Aslin's grandmother Pamela Hall said he was extremely upset when he called his mother after being handed the death penalty. There are no words. It's got to be everyone's worst nightmare to have your family threatened in this way, she said at the time. I have to believe what Aiden has said to us, that if the DPR don't get some response then they will execute him. Obviously, I hope that isn't true.